What's going on, guys? Part 2 of the Grom build with the fatty kit. For me, it's only been a second. For you, I don't know, maybe a couple days before the part 2 for the fat tire install has started. So this is where we're at. Stretch kit is in. Now we gotta prep the factory wheel, take off what I need to take off there to install on the rear fatty. Video that the Ruck Shop put up about installing this looks like it's a bit of a process. Can't really tell much of anything with that because it's still up in the air, but it is at the furthest stretch you can get, which I believe is 6 inches. So let's get the rest of it on, try to get this thing done. All right, so also in the kit, the stretch kit, they give you a new chain, which, you know, we'll put on at the end. They also give you this brand new JT sprocket. In the video, they'll show you theirs is stainless. This one is not stainless. I asked about that. They said they changed it, whatever, because it gets dirty anyway. But, so they give you this. That way you don't got to fight with trying to take this thing off. And spacers and other hardware you're going to need. This should just pop off here. So no need to try to remove this from here as they give you a new one. All right, so after taking that off, I've got to remove these cushions. Put them up here. Spacers. There, flip this over. All right, now that the wheel stuff is taken care of from the stock part, I gotta flip this sprocket around because it pushes it out a little bit to make way for the extra room from the fatty, so the chain lines up straight. So this is still the factory chain. I'm gonna take off. Not gonna need that anymore. Now here, we gotta take 10 mil wrench. Alright, so now I gotta reverse this. As I reverse this, I then gotta bring this back this way. Put this back on the other side. I want to leave myself enough room here to be able to shimmy this in and be able to lock it into place. Alright, now that that's on, see how it popped it out. I'm going to tighten these down. Once this is tight, it should not go anywhere. So I'm just tightening that up, getting this lined up where I need it, and just tightening that screw by hand. Back up, so then, once I get them hand tight, I can go back in with the wrench, and you can see this isn't coming off once that back piece is locked in. All right, so now it's time we're going to put this longer chain on. All right, so master link is on now. To put the cover back on, the stock cover is what I'm running. The factory bolts, they're a little too short because you pop this out. So what I had to do was get 5mm longer screws to fit. Stock is M6 by 25. 5mm longer would be M6 by 30. So let's get that on. All right, before I get rocking and rolling, installing the hub and stuff in this wheel, I'm just gonna quick wipe it down. The other thing I noticed though is I'm not saying it's their fault or anything. I'm just saying that they almost look, you know, they're not used, but you know, there's, can't really tell, but there's like little scrapes, stuff on it from, you know, I imagine from being installed the first time. But I mean, I didn't get a deal on the rims. They were on, all of the rims were on sale. The only deal that I got really was, since these were the ones from the video, they already had the tires mounted. So I bought the tires and everything. They just didn't charge me to mount the tires. But what are you gonna do? All right, so here's the hub. I'm gonna take out the supplied hardware. All right, so I didn't realize that I needed to take this part off of the hub. They put it together for shipping purposes. So now that we got that going, put this in this side, like so. Line up the holes. Now that the holes are lined up, I'm gonna stand this up and putting this on the other side, put the bolts through. All right, so now that the holes are lined up, take those bolts. All right, now I'm putting this piece back on, lining up those holes. Throwing some Loctite on. I put the rotor back on. There's an arrow that follows along with the direction of the tire. So on the tire, there's an arrow facing this way, so I want that arrow to face the same way. Slides down here so it spins freely. We line it up with the holes. I'm gonna put these screws in. Now they recommend putting in just 2, leaving them finger tight. And we can do that. But this is the first time really with bikes for me, so you know, obviously everything having to do with bikes is different than cars. I'm used to car stuff, you know, you put some rims on or whatever, it's easy, swap, but you gotta do everything with chains and all this extra stuff, so a little more involved. So now that this is on, we can flip it over here, put the cushions back in. Now we got to remove this piece from here to put on the included sprocket, because with this piece it's not going to fit with the fatty tire. It's going to rub, so that's why you got to remove this and put on just this piece, because otherwise you'd have to try to get this thing off, drill it off. I think it's, you know, it's sort of spot welded on or whatever, so can't use that, so you got to remove this. Not sure if I'm going to be able to do this by hand. Tell you what, can't beat a good impact wrench, man. It just makes short work of everything. Now this is off, we can go ahead and put on our supplied sprocket here. I'm going to give you in the kit some nylocks. You have to use red Loctite on these, so we're just going to go ahead and put those on. Okay, now, so one other issue we have here is the fact that you can tell these screw ends stick out just a little bit. And in order for these to potentially not rub, you gotta knock those off. Otherwise, it's a whole big process. So I'm just gonna take a Dremel and just quick knock those little ends off so they're more flush with the nuts. So we'll do that real quick. Back on the tire here, the rim. That's probably gonna fall off, so now we can work with getting this back on the bike, making sure there's space. All right, so here we are trying to get this wheel on there. Now the directions say to remove this first to give yourself extra room, the bracket that I already put on with this. Hoping I can get away with not doing it, because they use a bottle jack in here to open this up. Like people who've already had the stretch kit in for a long time, it tends to come in on you from leaning on the bike and different things. So mine is still new. I mean, it's only got like 30 miles on it. So hopefully I don't need to do that. So I'm just gonna try to do it from this point without doing that. So let's see. Day 2. There's nothing I hate more than stopping a project midway, not finished with stuff to finish up. Hate it. Unfortunately, I understand why they say you need somebody here to help install some of the parts. It's just easier to have a second set of hands. But I have no other set of hands still. So I'm gonna try it again. Got some blocks. I can help prop the tire up. It's awkward to try to hold all the pieces, the hubs and stuff, the sprocket on the tire while trying to get it lined up, pushing the axle in. So let's try it again. I was hoping I wasn't gonna have to use this since my bike is so new. But Harbor Freight, again, on sale for like 15 bucks. They recommend using this bottle jack to get in here to just push that open just a little bit to give you more room to fit the wheel and all the stuff in. Tight fit as it is right now. I just don't want to fight it since I'm by myself, so I'm gonna have to try and use this. So the 2x4s I have are a little too big to fit this in, so I'm gonna have to put it in there, not with the 2x4. Not ideal, but I gotta make do. Woo! Woo! They said it couldn't be done with one person without taking the brake off to fit the rotor in, to put it back on. I didn't want to have to mess with all this. It's just me here by myself trying to put this on. I was able to get the axle through the brake, the spacer, the other side, the other spacer, and out the other end. Now I just got to get the chain on, and I'll probably just put that nut on this side just so this thing doesn't fall out again. But man, that took some work. Take the bottle jack out. Oh, God. You know, it's a shame I didn't have a piece of wood for this side because I have a small indentation on this side, which, I don't know, man. At this point, it shouldn't be a big deal. I mean, I got some indentation there from the bottle jack, some indentation over there. I mean, what are you going to do? It's not custom if something's not bent or you're beating it with a hammer, I guess. So, of course, running into problems. Now, this may not be an issue, but, you know, obviously I already talked about this. This is my first time doing any of this stuff with bikes, so it's all new to me. But when I had it tensioned and tightened up with the chain, it's like it's resting. It's resting on the swing arm, like it's too tight. But everything is where it's supposed to be, and this chain's supposed to fit, so I'm thinking maybe it's just because it's still up on the jack stand. when I put it on the ground, it'll be okay. I hope, because other than that, I don't know what else is wrong, because everything is on the way it's supposed to be. I just got to finish tightening up, putting the rotor on. So once I do that, I'll put it down and see what happens. You see this hair? This is the hair of somebody at their wit's end, tired of problem after problem. So what's going on now is, I thought with putting the bike down back off the stand, it would adjust the chain to where it just wasn't dragging so bad on the slider. It still is. So I think I have to actually do the lowering link and might change how it sits. I didn't think that it would matter, but that's the only difference between my bike and the Ruck Shop's bike when they installed the fatty and the stretch kit. So everything else lines up, everything else is good. I actually got to go back. You saw me put the sprocket cover back on. I had to take it off because I need to go to Home Depot and just grab some spacers to put in there, because if not, those longer bolts don't really do anything. It goes too tight up against the sprocket and everything hits. So I got to space them out, put that cover back on with the longer bolts. So I'm going to do that. I was hoping I could leave it like this for a little bit and keep that rake where I lowered the front end and keep the back end up. I thought that was different and it looked cool, because I haven't seen anybody do that really. So it looks like to get it to run right and for me to tension the chain up to the proper spec, I'm gonna have to lower it. That's the only difference. So this is gonna be the end of this video. I guess I'll have to do a part 3 or just installing the lowering link, which I'm gonna do anyway, but it looks like I have to do it now for this to be right. So, all right guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget Steve MP5 on Instagram, and I'll catch you in the next video.